Hey, what's up, BucNation? Buck you here. And okay, so I'm gonna go straight to the video. Um, I just had my daughter. My wife's in the hospital right now, so just had our daughter. So I have to do this video real quick. Her can leave, get to the hospital. So I'm very busy right now. But so today's video I'm gonna talk about is why do we as BucNation love Tom Brady, right? And I know a lot of reasons, but before we get started, let me just say this. I used to hate Tom Brady. I mean, but it's normal. You just hate the team. You just hate people that always just wins. Like I hated Tom Brady. Hate is a strong word, but so I'm gonna say I envy. So I used to envy Tom Brady. I used to envy the Golden State Warriors. I used to envy the Showtime Lakers, right? Because they just always win. There was no competition. Even in WWE, I used to envy Triple H back in 2002, 2003, the Reign of Terror. It was just no competition. And competition makes everything better. Like, for example, I'm going to go back to using a wrestling analogy. WWE and WCW Monday Night Wars, it made the TV so much better. You was flipping between channels all the time between Nitro and WWE. Like now, WWE, AEW. Like now with the Golden State Warriors, Kevin Durant left Golden State, went to Brooklyn, kind of balanced out the NBA a little bit. Now, Tom Brady, everybody loves Tom Brady, and so do I. I love Tom Brady because he came in and just made a whole new culture of the Buccaneers. So let me explain what I mean by that. So when you think of the quarterbacks for Tampa Bay, you think of Brad Johnson, who won a Super Bowl with us, Jameis Winston, and think of Tom Brady. Those are three influential quarterbacks that we've had. So Jameis Winston, we know his story. When he came out of college from Florida State, we was hyped. We got a number one overall pick. He was a can't miss prospect. Yeah, he had some off the field issues, but we got a number one pick, and I don't think we had a pick higher than that than Jameis Winston. The last pick we had high was Gaines Adams, and that was coming out of the Calvin Johnson draft. But we got, I think that was Gaines was number 4. Gaines Adams was number 4. But we got a number one overall pick, a franchise altering player. I was excited for Jameis. But I mean, he got replaced by Ryan Fitzpatrick, and then he did a 30 for 30. Not documentary, but 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, and 5,000 yards. And he just had maturity issues. He had off the field issues again with the Uber issue, and then James just wasn't the guy. And then defenses, they used to have their best season against when they played against Buccaneers. I think Jameis Winston even got some players to the Pro Bowl because of the pick sixes that he threw in the game. But Tom Brady came from New England, and he was coming. He always had that narrative in New England with him and Belichick, who needed who the most. Kind of like the Golden State Warriors, Kevin Durant, who needed who the most. Now we know that now Kevin Durant needed the Warriors more because the Warriors are going to the finals now. But it was always who needed who out of Brady and Belichick. It's like, okay, Belichick got this 6th round guy from Michigan. Where did Brady come from? Michigan, right? Was it Michigan? I think Michigan. And he made him into this once in a generational talent. And then Brady became good because he was in Belichick's system. And Brady made Belichick. It was just a debate. It was almost kind of the LeBron James, Michael Jordan debate. Who made who out of Brady and Belichick? You never knew that. So they had, like all good relationships, they come to an end. They had their differences and everything. My glasses get a little foggy, so excuse me. They had their differences, and Brady just couldn't do it no more. Went to Tampa Bay. Now, when Brady came to Tampa, it was the most hype we've had since Jameis, because people was already speculating that we was not going to win or we was going to win. The culture, what's going to happen. Brady's not going to be a good fit for Tampa Bay. etc., etc. So so it was just so much hype, negative or positive, of Brady coming to the Buccaneers. Now, fast forward, Brady gets the Super Bowl. We make Super Bowl. Now, I say this Super Bowl was more important. Let me back up. So, no. Brady, so this Super Bowl was more important. It was more influential because, excuse me one second. Sorry about that. Yeah, so this Super Bowl was more important. It was more impressive that he won the Super Bowl other than the one that he won with New England all the time, because you remember, yes, he had his first Super Bowl when he played against the greatest show on turf. He won that, and then he won some against, the 23 comeback, and that was all nice and good and all, but Brady's always been a home field advantage, 12-4, 13-3, even he went 16-0 type record when he was in New England. But he took his show on the road, from the wild card to the Washington football team, to the divisional round against the Saints, to the NFC Championship game against the Packers, until we got home. But so he won all 3 games on the road to get to the Super Bowl. And he did it with his first year with the team. And remember, they added some pieces mid-season. They added like the Leonard Fournette and Dominican Sue, AB, Antonio Brown. So he didn't have an offseason with those guys. Now, I want to compare Brady's 2020 Super Bowl to our 2002, our first Super Bowl in 2003 season. That was a defensive team, right? That was a defensive team. I lost my train of thought. Okay, what was I saying? It was a defensive team. John Gruden came, replaced Tony Dungy, and it was all defense. We won a Super Bowl against Oakland off defense. I know we put up 42 points, but anytime your defense matches your offense in points, 21-21, your defense won that Super Bowl. And in 3 of those, when you force a quarterback to throw 5 interceptions and 3 of them go for pick sixes, your defense won the Super Bowl. But then I also want to look at, the quarterbacks of those Super Bowls. Brad Johnson, Tom Brady. And Brad Johnson, he was the best quarterback in Buccaneers history, in my opinion, before Brady, because he did get a Super Bowl. And he was consistent. He was like an upgraded Alex Smith, game manager, consistent quarterback. But Brady came, and he did it in his first year. Brad Johnson won Super Bowl his first year also. So so you can correlate those two together. But Brady is just the numbers. Brad Johnson barely put up 3,000 yards, and he had 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Brady had almost 4,700 yards, 40 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. So you just look at those stats alone. Now, I know people are going to say, excuse me, is that, Brad Johnson was not playing a passing league at the time. And that argument doesn't make sense, because this goes back to what people say about the LeBron James, Michael Jordan argument. LeBron James has more career numbers than Michael Jordan because they didn't have a 3-pointer, or they didn't prioritize the 3-pointer back then like they do now, which is not LeBron James' fault. Which means Michael Jordan could have shot 3-pointers if he wanted to. He chose not to. Brad Johnson could have thrown the ball more if he wanted to, but he didn't. So when I look at his 22 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, I see the 22 touchdowns as being he didn't throw a lot, so he didn't get a lot of touchdowns, and the interceptions mean he didn't throw a lot, so he didn't really throw it into traffic or throw, caution to the wind, or he didn't throw enough to get a lot of interceptions. Even those numbers today would not even get him a Pro Bowl. So, I'm sorry, I'm coughing so much. So this notion that, this notion that Brad Johnson didn't go to was on a running first team is just ridiculous. He just didn't do it. But like I said, Brady, just when Brady came, the reason why we just love Brady because he has the swagger. Now I know social media wasn't a thing back in 2002, 2003 as it is now, But just look at Brady off the field when he was with Tampa Bay. You know, just how he just communicate with the guys more. But he was just a vocal leader. You know, he was just a vocal leader, and he put us on the map. Yes, we won Super Bowl. We wasn't really on the map in 2002, 2003. We just had like a moment of, we was just had like 15 minutes of fame. But we are on the map now. People put us up there as NFC, you know, title holders and everything. And we got to thank Tom Brady for that. My God, I'm just coughing so bad. I'm trying to get this video, guys, so bear with me. So, like I said, Brady was the reason, you know, and I'm happy that we have Brady. He had done a lot for us. And I hope, you know, this is last year. Thank you for getting the Super Bowl. And, you know, again, that's why we love Tom Brady. Just everything he brought to the team. Like, subscribe, guys. New to the channel. I'm gonna do my intros last now. I want to just get to the topics beforehand. But like, subscribe. That helps me, helps the channel grow. Find me on Twitter at BucU2021. And you guys have a great night. I'm gonna go get my bag ready and go see my daughter for the first time.